Welcome to Comics with Dan. This is the Comics Commute. This time, it's my commute home on Wednesday. I didn't get a chance to read a ton of books this past week because first of all, I'm picking my pulls up on my way home today, actually, and I also have been reading this novel called "Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone." It's a pretty great book. I think it was recently released in the U.S. after being released in Australia before. So definitely check that one out. It's not a comic book, but it's still a very good mystery novel. But so this past week, looking at my list, I've read Volume 3 of Hawkeye by Matt Fraction. So I'll talk a little bit about that. I also tried out the first issue of Immortal Thor by Al Ewing, so I'll talk a little bit about that. And then I also read Inferno Girl Red and Supermassive from 2022. So those are the kind of the ones I'll be talking about, and well, let's get into it. Hawkeye Volume 3, called LA Woman. This one focuses on Kate Bishop rather than Clint Barton. Now, to be fair, I've never read a Hawkeye book before in my life, so jumping into Volume 3 at this point, maybe not the wisest decision, but it actually ended up turning out pretty okay. I didn't have a whole lot of interest in the character at first, but I was able to get this at Ollie's for like 50 cents, so it seemed like a no-brainer because I'd heard really great things about Fraction's Hawkeye run. So I thought I'd check it out, and it really surprised me. The art was generally a little more cartoony than I generally like, but it kind of fit the tone of the story well, and by the end of it, it had really grown on me. And Fraction's writing is just really great. For him to be able to take a character that I don't have a ton of interest in and make her really likable and interesting and keep me engaged in the story is an impressive feat. It's essentially starting with Kate Bishop. She moves out to LA and is on her own. Her dad's not going to fund her life anymore, and she's got to kind of figure out how to do things herself. So she starts a private investigator / superheroing business and kind of solves some mysteries. And the overarching villain of this is Madame Mask, a villain who I'd never even heard of before. And they do a pretty good job of, while she's not present in every single issue, you get that sense of looming over the total plot, and there's just a presence of her there, which is really intriguing as a reader because it allows you to still focus on the story, but you're always kind of wondering if it's going to tie back into the main overarching plot with Madame Mask, and Fraction does a really good job with that. Overall, I think I gave it 3.5 stars on League of Comic Geeks. It's pretty good. I think that if I can make space in my TBR, I'll check out the rest of the series on either Marvel Unlimited or possibly trying to find the other trades. But definitely worth checking out. The next thing that I want to talk about is the first issue of Immortal Thor. By Al Ewing. I really thought that the next thing I want to talk about is Immortal Thor #1. I was really trying to find a Marvel book that I could, sink my teeth into and get acquainted with and catch up on that's still currently running. So I thought I'd give Immortal Thor a try. Again, I've never read a Thor book before. 4, with the exception of a very, very brief bit of Simonson's run from a long time ago, and I didn't get through most of it. So I thought that it was a pretty good introduction. The entire story and plot and everything just seems so much larger than life, which I think is what you want out of a Thor book, right? He's not what you would consider to be a street level hero, but you want to deal with sort of the over the top, there's no way that this could happen in real life type of thing when you're dealing with Thor. I enjoyed the art, and I thought that it matched the tone of the book really well. I thought that the story that Ewing did a really good job of kind of building up that character and it allowing it to really work as an issue number 1, while not rehashing too much of what had previously happened. So I think I'll probably try to keep going with that. I don't know if I'm gonna go so far as to add to my pull list, but I'll probably try to read a few more issues on Marvel Unlimited and see what I can come up with. And the last couple books I want to talk about are Inferno Girl Red and Supermassive. So these books are from the Massiveverse, and both well done, as most of the Massiveverse books have been. I didn't think I would like Inferno Girl Red as much as I did when I started reading it, but by the end I had really enjoyed it. The highlights were the action. There was a lot of really great fight scenes and really cool art to go along with those, and additionally the characters are just extremely likable. It's hard not to like some of them. So when you have a good story, good action, and enjoyable characters, then it's a recipe for success. Now, I read Inferno Girl Red before I read Supermassive, which was not the order of release, but it was the chronological order of the books, of the stories rather. So Inferno Girl Red was already active in Supermassive, which was released first, but then the actual Inferno Girl Red book shows her origin and how she came to be and everything. So the Supermassive from 2022, the main players in that are Radiant Black, in this case Marshall, Rogue Sun, and who in this case is Marcus Bell, not Dylan, and Inferno Girl Red. What I really liked about this book is when you get a crossover, a lot of times I think crossovers try to be something that they're not, and in reality crossovers should, in my opinion, should just be these action-packed fun romps and not try to take themselves too seriously. I absolutely loved the chemistry between Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, and Inferno Girl Red. I thought that they would make a really great, consistent team up. And honestly, I'm a little disappointed that, and spoilers here for anyone who hasn't read Rogue Sun, that Marcus Bell, the first Rogue Sun, or the first Rogue Sun, dies basically right at the beginning of Volume 1 of Rogue Sun, and his son becomes the new Rogue Sun. I really liked Marcus's part in Supermassive, and I thought that like the grumpy old man vibe that he gave off during that book was fun, especially seeing him interact with Marshall in that regard was really great. I had a great time reading that book, and it was I had a great time reading that book, and it was really just a fun time, and that's kind of what I want in a crossover. So the one last thing I do still want to talk about that I didn't mention in the intro is I started my research on an upcoming character profile for Night Thrasher. I won't get into it too much because I want to save some of the discussion points I have for the character profile. But I read Thor 411 and 412 and started the New Warriors series from the 90s. It's really great so far. Lots of good stuff in there. If you want to know more about Night Thrasher and the stuff I'm reading about him, keep an eye out for the character profile video that I'm going to be doing hopefully sometime this upcoming weekend, if I can get through the content I want to read in time to make that video. So that's all I had to talk about for the comics commute. I appreciate everyone watching. Subscribe if you like the content, like the video, spread it around. I appreciate anyone that watches and supports the channel, and thanks for watching.